just having conversation just now with Jia Rong and Ho Ming that in Malaysia we have many universities. Maybe not in terms of numbers, but come. So we have like Australian University, we have British University, we have also Chinese University. Last time we want to have a Japanese university here. During Mahathir time, we want to set up Japanese university. So I'm not sure we have Arab university. I'm not sure, but we have like a Muslim OIC kind of Muslim country university, which is IIUM, International Islamic University in Malaysia. So there are different types of universities there, and we also have like a twinning program. Twinning program is when you can do 2 years over here and 2 years in the other country. Or
they can, after they graduate, they can receive 2 certification.
not. Maybe some have, but not. That's not what I meant. What I mean is they call it twinning program, meaning they do 2 years or 3 years here, 4th year in the other country. So, but that we have a lot of that kind of program. We have a lot. So with Australia, UK, America, Canada, we have that kind of arrangement. But a lot of Commonwealth countries, a lot of English-speaking countries. Not many non-speaking countries. Not English-speaking countries. And I think Malaysia has become a hub, education hub, like one of the top 10 in the world. I think education hub. Not necessarily the best education, but a hub of education. Again, because of the value for money. You know, it's not very expensive, but you can get more or less good quality. That's the positioning of Malaysia. So you talk about healthcare, it's the same. Standard of living is the same. It's the value for money. How much you pay, how much you get. So of course, you want to get best education in business. You still go to the Ivy League in US or the Cambridge in UK or whatever, Stuttgart is Germany. But over here we have a variety. Okay, Jane, you ready, Jane?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. We are all here to listen to your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm showing my. Okay, it's here. Okay. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So give me this chance to have this presentation to show you my new study. Okay, I have changed a little bit, just classified the people that I want to do the research. Okay, so the topic is social responsibility of social media contents on gender issues, and in-depth analysis by comparing China's post-90s users from first-tier and fourth-tier cities in China. So this is my slide structure, and then I want to have an introduction. So globalization and informatization have made social media a key platform for communication and sharing information. While it fosters interaction, it also reinforces gender stereotypes and discrimination. In first-tier cities, women enjoy better education and career options, but still face workplace discrimination, wage gaps, and harassment. While men deal with pressure from marriage and work, in fourth-tier cities, women face traditional gender roles, limited education and job opportunities, and domestic violence, while men struggle with high bride prices and marriage pressures. So next slide, thank you. So China's post-90s generation. This is why I just concentrate on the post-90s generation. China's post-90s generation will become the backbone of China's sustainable development in the next 30 years. Similar to the millennials in the United States, China's post-90s generation grew up entirely in the age of digital technology, including computers, video games, and internet. Therefore, the internet has a great impact on their lives. They are also one of the main forces in the use of social media. Their gender concepts are constantly evolving in the conflict between tradition and the modernity. So I just concentrate on the post-90s generation. Next slide. Thank you. So increase the awareness of gender equality. Post-90s women in first-tier cities pursue economic independence and self-choice, while men face pressure from the gender role transformation. Difference between the different areas. First-tier cities have more open gender attitudes, while fourth-tier cities and the rural areas where the post-90s generation are still bound by traditional attitudes, and the men are burdened by marriage and economic pressures. The impact of social media. The social media has driven gender discussion and awareness, but it has also increased the appearance, anxiety, and gender consumption, especially among women. Generational differences. The post-90s generation is more accepting the fluidity of gender roles than their parents, and more inclusive of LGBTQ plus or something. The impact of government policies. The gender equality policies advocated by the government have a profound impact on the post-90s generation, especially in terms of workplace promotion, pay gap, and gender discrimination. And women still face challenges. Birth policy pressure. Changes in the birth policy have put pressure on women born in 1990s to choose between career and family, especially among the urban women. So this is the reason that I want to do this kind of research. Next one, thank you. So it is very important and urgent to understand and analyze the social responsibility of content on Chinese social media from the perspective of China's post-90s users of social media in first-tier cities and fourth-tier cities, and its impact on gender issues. Analyzing these gender issues from the user's perspective could help social media make more positive SR activities about gender issues. It's not CSR. Eliminate gender stereotypes and promote gender equality. The recommendations proposed in this study can help social media content creators better fulfill their social responsibility regarding gender equality. So next is the literature review structure. I will just classify my literature review into 4 parts. The first part is about SR, the definition of social responsibility, but the literature is limited for me to find it. But I can still find 1 or 2 out of it. And the other one is SR on social media. It has some problem?
Fine, okay. Proceed.
Okay. So the two part is about social media, the development of social media, the social media in China, and the SR of influencers in China. This is the second part that I would like to make a literature. And the third part is the gender issues in China. The patriarchy and paternalism is the first part, and the women under the modernizing state is the third part. And the fourth part is the post-90s and the social media. And next one is
Okay.
The influencer, which is a social media content maker, has become one of the most powerful forms of marketing in recent years. Social media influencers have created a unique position where their followers regard them as trusted and important sources of information. Still, almost anyone can be a social media influencer. This is research by him. So for the centuries, the lives of Chinese women were circumscribed by ideas, ideology, and practices that resulted in gender inequality and female subordination. Riley said, and who said higher education enrolls patrilineal and traditional gender values. Mao mentioned, due to the stringent censorship imposed on feminism activism in China, the cultural space afforded by social media emerges as a crucial platform for engaging in collective resistance. And the Supreme People's Court issued the provisions on several issues concerning the application of law in the trial of disputes involving bride price in 2024. This is the files that made by the government. The concept frameworks, I have two theories. The first theory is the generational cohort theory. The values, beliefs, attitude, ideas, and behaviors of the same generation are influenced by the social, economic, political, and cultural environments where they grow up. The next theory is the gender theory. Gender theory compasses a broad spectrum of perspectives, including gender, sexuality, identity, and social structures. And that is my problem statement. In the context of China's rapidly evolving social media landscape, there is a growing need to understand how post-90s users interpret gender-related socially responsible and non-socially responsible content. This research aims to explore the impact of such content on user thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors, while also examining the differences in the interpretation and impact between male and female users, as well as between users in first-tier and fourth-tier cities. Additionally, it seeks to identify the SR policies and the strategies that users believe should be implemented to address gender issues on social media. By addressing these aspects, the study will contribute to a deeper understanding of gender dynamics in Chinese social media and inform future SR initiatives. So next part is my research question. I have three main questions, but I have the plus one. The first question is, what do China's post-90s male and female users interpret as gender-related SR or non-SR contents on Chinese social media? The subtitle is, the sub-question is, why do they interpret them as gender-related SR or non-SR contents? The second question is, based on the China's post-90s users' perspectives, what is the impact of gender-related SR or non-SR contents on users' thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors? 2A is, what are the differences between male and female users? 2B, what are the differences between the first-tier cities and the fourth-tier cities users? The third question is, what SR policies and strategies do users in first-tier and fourth-tier cities in China consider as to implement in gender issues content in Chinese social media? Okay, so this is the research objectives. It's the same as the research questions. So next page. Thank you. And that is one methodology. I will use the inductive strategy. Inductive strategy will be used in this study, utilizing interviews with users from various cities to gather insights into their perceptions and evaluations of the social media content creators' SR initiatives on gender issues. Through this qualitative approach, the study aims to identify the key facts that influence the post-90s users' perspectives. The findings will then be inductively analyzed to generate a set of distinctive recommendations tailored for social media content creators, and thereby enhancing social media SR strategies in addressing gender-related concerns. Next page, thank you. This is the structure that I painted. First, I think people just get the gender-related content. They recognize it, and then they judge. And then the users will judge. They have judgment of the users, and if they internalization agree, the thoughts, the attitude, and behaviors will change. If they disagree, they will ignore. So this is maybe this is the way that I think they will use this circle. Next part. So the qualitative research includes two parts. The first part is the thematic analysis. I will analyze the posts on Chinese social media. The analysis will focus on identifying the classification of SR or non-SR content about gender issues on Chinese social media. Examine how these contents are constructed and revealing key themes and patterns in the data. And the second part is in-depth interview. The in-depth interview will be conducted within 8 groups. Each group has 5 people. They are post-90s men and women users from Beijing, Shenzhen, Lhasa, and Jingzhou. Next one. So the sampling, the purposive sampling will be employed in the selection of interview participants. press well structured that purposeful sampling involves selecting participants because you believe that they might contribute something to your analysis. My pilot test, I will use one group to make the in-depth interview. I have 8 groups in total. A total of 40 interviews will be conducted. 20 with male users and 20 with female users. 5 men and 5 women from 40 cities. Each group has 5 people. The users in the sample will be selected based on the 3 criteria. The first criteria is the residence in Beijing, Shenzhen. They are the first-tier city, and Jingdezhen, Lhasa, they are fourth-tier city. The second one is the social media users born between the 1st of January of 1990 and 31 December 1999. Then they are post-90s. The third criteria is the comments. They have a comment, likes, forwards, the posts about gender issues on social media. So these are my 3 criteria. These are the map that the city is located. Next one. So the research participants, in total, 40 in-depth interviews will be conducted with post-90s male and female social media users. In-depth interviews with broad questions will be adopted. Design an interview outlines covering gender, perceptions, thoughts, attitude, and behavior changes. Media influences and etc. Focusing on open-ended questions to obtain in-depth information. Each interview will last between 40 and 90 minutes. With permission of the study participants, the interviews will be audio taped and later transcribed verbatim. Furthermore, descriptions and observations notes will be taken throughout the interviews. Qualitative analysis will include coding and classification. Code and classify interview data from abstract, main themes and patterns. The thematic analysis, I will use a novel, Vival or similar software for thematic analysis, identifying key factors in thought, attitude, and behavior changes. The case analysis. We conduct in-depth analysis of typical cases to reveal specific gender issues and the mechanism of the social media influence. The significance of study. This research will offer 4 main contributors to academia and practice. First, the study contributes to the field by examining what's the typologies of SR content on Chinese social media, addressing gender issues internally and externally, thereby enhancing creators' accountability and influencing societal norms. Secondly, the research will establish a theoretical model by analyzing the impact of gender-related SR or non-SR contents on the user's thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors across diverse urban contexts in China, offering insights into how digital platforms shape societal attitude. Thirdly, by developing tailored SR strategies The study aims to make a clear conceptualization of SR on social media content creators about gender discrimination, promotes inequality and injustice within Chinese social media environments. Finally, the findings will inform policymakers, social media companies, and some problem?
Continue.
Okay.
There was a bit of breakup just now, but it's fine now.
Oh, a break?
Okay, I'm not. Just now there was a little break, but now you're okay. Continue.
Oh, okay. Finally, the findings will inform policymakers, social media companies, and stakeholders on effective approaches to enhance gender sensitivity online, contributing to a broader discussion on corporate ethics and social responsibility in the tech industry. So those are the significance of the study. And then I just put some of my references on it. So that is my whole presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jane, that's a good presentation there. So within 20 minutes or so that's good. Yeah. The time is good. Let's go back to your title again. Let me revisit the title.
Okay.
Social responsibility of social media content of gender issues. An in-depth analysis by comparing China's post-90s users from first-tier and fourth-tier cities in China. All right, very clear there. Good. Right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's too much?
No. I'm looking at certain words there. Yeah. So just to capture the key concepts in your title, you have social responsibility. 1. You have social media content. Social media content. That's number 2. You have gender issues. That's number 3. Gender. Number 3. Gender.
Great, yeah.
Gender. Number 4 is China. Number 4 is China. Number 5. Number 5 has to do with the generation, which is the 90s generation, right? Post-90. This will be what? Gen Z? Gen Millennials? What do you call this group of people? Just got to find out. Post-90s, I think, Millennials, Millennials, I think.
Yeah.
But it's okay, you can use but that's another point. So social responsibility, 1, social media, number 2, gender, number 3, China, number 4, the generational, the generation, post-90 generation, number 5, number 6 is the first tier and fourth tier cities, right? Different tier, the level of development, kind of a level of development, urban development, right? That's more generalized concept. Urban development.
Yes.
So that's number 6. I just identified 6 key concepts, 6 key areas that the putting together. Yeah, looking together. That's all right. That's good.
Yes.
Okay. Just to note, you have 6 areas there. Let's move on to certain slides that I like to highlight. I can see that. Let's move to literature review. Introduction. Move on. You have made, I think, a lot of. You have much more clarity now than before. It seems, right, Jane? Yeah. Okay. So you have the literature, right? Let's make some correction first. So literature, you remove the word S, the the character S, the alphabet S. Just literature or literature review, and just literature or key literature. That's another one you can use, or just move to S. Not literatures. There's no plural.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So you have, and this is good because you have 4 areas. Social responsibility, social media, gender issues in China. You could put them together, but gender itself is a big field. So you kind of can combine them, but you do want to have gender by itself as a literature review, right? So you might want to expand the literature review to include gender in general, and then you could do gender in China. So you want to have a gender as in general, and then you can go gender
in general.
In general, yes. And this is, by the way, a very developed area, right? And then
and just add one design.
Yes, yeah. It can still be the same category, but gender issues in China is a sub area of gender. So there's gender and there's gender issues in China. So gender issues is under the gender area, right? Okay. Post-90 is another one, very good. So the other one, the last one is actually urban development or something like that, because it has to do with first year, second year, third year, fourth year. So urban development, or you can just have something on urban development as kind of a literature review to cover urban development, because that will cover the first year, second year literature and the studies of the second and fourth tier. So we're talking about urban development. What are the issues of urban development? Urban in city, right? So what the issue? You need to know what the issues are in urban development. Okay. I remember. Sorry. Go ahead. What do you want to ask?
I want to ask which part. I just put the urban development before the post-90s or in the end, or in the end.
You could put at the end is fine too. At the end is fine too. Yeah. Because of the
do I need to put some gender problem, gender issues in this urban?
You do not need to. What happened is there can be overlap in all of these areas, all of these concepts. They can be overlapped. So there can be social responsibility about gender. It can be post-90s and gender issues. So all of them might have overlap, but you're doing them as separate key areas or key concepts that you are doing literature review on, right? But like you did for gender issues in China, right? You could zoom in if you want to be more specific, right? So you could zoom in. So now my next question, after you have this literature review, the next question is that you will have to think and answer this very important question. So your research, we can go back to the title, Hanif. You have everything here. We just need to fine tune to have better clarity. Yeah. Let's go back to your title. So Hanif's going back to the title. Just a minute. The title. There you go. Okay, it will take a while then. Yeah. I can see the title.
Okay.
So if you look at this one, this is your title right now. So you have the okay, you have the literature review. The literature review will tell you all the the issues or the discourse or the themes under each of these 5-6 areas, right? Now,
Yes, right.
the way you want to frame your research is to look at the research gaps that justify your research. So the literature review, you find a particular gap, right, or particular gaps that you want to research on. So for instance, there's social media content, right, social media research. But you say, well, in social media research, what's lacking in social media research is in gender issues. I don't think so. I think there are a lot of gender issues in social media research. But you can say social responsibility of social media research vis-a-vis gender. That is the gap. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to show that the literature doesn't cover or doesn't explain social responsibility of social media on gender issues. You want to show that, right? So in the literature review, after the literature review, you have research gaps, and the research gaps will need to justify your research. So that is the logic, right? And that's for all of you too, right? For you all who are starting, Yelling, Jarong, and Homing, right? Because you all have presented your proposal, right? So when you begin, that's what you want to do. When your literature review, you want to identify your research gaps that justify your research title, your research, right? So you want to be able to do, you want to be able to say, right, Jane, in the proposal event that this particular area has not been studied yet, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Now.
Yes.
Okay. So the challenge for you, Jane, in this context, is that you have a lot of key areas or key concepts, right, of this course. You have like 6.
Okay.
So the challenge for you is that you will need to cover a lot of ground. You need to cover a lot of literature, right? So the gender. I remember last time with Pak Rudy, the evaluator, the assessor, Brahmania Dr. Hafiza was saying, who is the expert? Who is the big names? Who are the main theories in tourism? And Pak Rudy can answer that question, right? So you do not want to fall into that trap, especially during Viva, right? So you will need to know the main theories or the main people in the areas that you study. So you say in social media, this is the main literature or main theories. In social responsibility, these are the main theories. In gender, these are the main theories. But they all do not cover the research gap that you have identified. You see, Jay, you can.
That was fine.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Okay.
So if you do that, you cover. You justify your research. You justify your research, right? Okay. So I think you the flow of your research is there. So you have something quite solid here. Let's move on to your research questions.
Okay.
No, we are moving, we haven't. Okay. That's the research questions, yeah.
Next.
Yeah, there's a. WebEx is getting heavier and heavier now because they have AI and all that.
They put AI.
Yeah. But this is the new caption. We should know where the caption thing is.
Yeah, so for example, if somebody speaks, bro,
Yeah.
you can see,
See the caption,
translation,
So where is that? We should do that. No? Never mind. The next one then do. The next one then. Chunks. When we do the caption thing, because that helps for when there's a breakup, right, in communication. The caption will still be there. I think.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is your research questions. So number just matter of arrangement, Jane, and in terms of presence. So what do China's post-90s and male and female users interpret as gender-related social responsibility and non-social responsibility contents in Chinese social media? Why do they interpret them as gender-related social media? Okay, so since you have a sub question, which is actually a good sub research question, you don't put since we have 1A. Usually, when you have 1A, you should have 1B, right? So let's.
So I just separated the SR contents and non-SR contents as the sub questions, right?
Yeah. But for 2 is fine. You have 2A, 2B. Yeah, that's fine. But for number 1, you just have 1. Why do they interpret them as gender related? Right. Let me help you if you want to go deeper in this questioning, in this research question. How you can go deeper, right? Why do they interpret them as? Okay. As gender related. Okay. So there are kind of 2 parts to the question. Yeah? One is gender. The other one is social responsibility.
Oh, gendered.
Am I right? There's 2 parts to this one. So what do they interpret as gender issues, and what do they interpret as socially responsible or socially non-responsible content? Am I right? So some male users might not see some content as gender content. Maybe. I'm thinking maybe, but female might think it's gender, male might not think it's gender. But in some cases, male might think it's gender, female might not think it's gender. So here is where, and then there's a social responsibility dimension to the question, right? How about this, Jane? Maybe we can create a 1A, 1B question here, yeah. So 1A is what do they interpret as social responsibility content? What do they interpret as non-social responsibility content? Make it general first, because that is actually a big part of your research is about social responsibility. And then you have a second part. You have the second part, which is so you have what do they interpret as gender related. Okay. What do it should? Yeah. Okay. So the first question has to do with what do they consider as gender related content? what they consider not as gender-related content, and then what do they consider as socially responsible content, non-socially responsible content. So, and then you can combine them, and what do they think as gender-related social responsibility content and non-gender social responsible content, and why? You got that?
So I should make first the question into 4 parts.
That's right.
So the first is why do they interpret them as social responsibility content, and then the non-social responsibility content, and then the gender-related inside it.
Yes. So now, all you need to do is to put the Y at the end. What do post-90s male and females interpret as social responsible, social media content, non-social, non-SR content? That's a question. And put a Y at the end, right? And then, and then another one is, and then put the gender question in there. Put a Y at the end, and then put another question, and then combine them, and then put a Y at the end. It's actually just 3. 3 will be fine, right? 3, not 4. The first, first one is, what is socially responsible, non-socially responsible content, and why? And the second one, what is a gender content, what is non-gender content, and why? And number 3 is what is socially responsible, gender-related socially responsible content, and non-socially responsible content, right? And why? It's a mouthful there. So, first question now, you divide it into 3 now. Just put a Y at the end.
Okay.
You got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is, yeah. What I'm doing now is to help you to, number 1, have clarity with the question. Number 2 is to help you generate a lot of data to analyze. Right? You have more data to analyze.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Right? So you have clarity, and then you have more data to analyze. Because we want them to separate out to help us understand what do they see as gender-related content, non-gender-related content. So you have the male defined this way, gender-related, non-gender-related. The female will define what's gender-related, what's non-gender-related content, right? So, for instance, I don't know what to. A male saying a man wearing a tie, right? So, a man said, well, that's not gender related. This is a man wearing a tie, right? But female might interpret it differently, right? So generally speaking, the literature out there would say, women have a much more gendered view of the world. Men has a much less gendered view of the world. So that's the literature. So men do not see the separation that much, or they don't even care, right, or whatever. So women will see more. Women have more distinctions when looking at things in that sense, right? So anyways, so that is let them. We do not know until we get the data, right? So that is. So you have the first set of research question, Then you have the second set of research questions, right? Based on China's post-90s users' perspective, what is the impact? Okay, this one you can retain this question. So this is question number 2. And question number 3, what social policies and strategies do first tier, second tiers in China consider as in? All right. Question number 3, research question number 3, the language needs to be improved. Let's see then. What social responsible policies and strategies do users in first and fourth cities in China consider to implement? Consider as to implement in gender issues related to Chinese social media policies.
What do users consider as to?
The users consider in China. How about consider as to in China recommend?
In China,
Recommend in China recommend to be implemented. All right. What do users recommend to be implemented?
To be implemented.
Yeah. Recommend or suggest. Or you can use one of those words. Yeah. Yeah, and then also put in the question why at the end. Why?
And why?
At the question why. Why do they, suggest the policies and strategies for this one? So you have why there too. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now you have.
Yes.
Right. So you have something rather solid now. Good. Okay, so these are research questions. They are solid. You have 3 research questions there. Let me see. Let's look at your. Scroll down. There's a slide that you show your qualitative research. The methodology maybe, okay, that's good. There's one slide that you talk about qualitative research. Yeah, I will come back to the inductive towards, but I just want to understand, after this one, there's another one where you have arrows and all that.
Arrows?
No, there's one that you have arrows and boxes and arrows.
Oh, this one, bro.
Not that one, there's another one.
I think this one.
Yeah, that one there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, still qualitative research there. Okay, what do you want to do with this one, Jane? What are you doing? What are you explaining with this slide?
Because last time I read a book, it has a similar like a circle, like they recognize this content and they will judge, they will agree, and then they will change. This is the social media, how they change the users' attitude, their actions or something else. So I think from their interviews, in-depth interviews, I can get this circle or the blue circle from the interview, from the in-depth interview.
Okay.
I don't know if it's right to put it here, but I just had it here to want to explain my thoughts.
All right. This is about how you are going to analyze the data.
Yeah.
This is how you are going to analyze the data. Alright, there's internalization agree, internalization disagree, ignoring. Who's ignoring what? Why ignoring that? What do you mean then?
Ignoring.
Means it,
Maybe
the behavior
they will
maybe
not.
doesn't change.
They will disagree. They will.
The behavior will change.
They cannot. They cannot get. Maybe they have seen content about the gender issues, but they are ignoring, so they can't remember.
Jane, I'm not sure this is clear. This internalization, disagree, internalization, agree. This looks somewhat like some theorizing happening here, but I'm not sure what the theorizing is at this point. Since this is where I'm going to go back to your point. Okay, number one, if this slide is not clear, do not put it in, right? So I'm not clear what this slide is. Yeah, I think it should be removed. It's not clear. It should be removed or must be removed. Let's go back.
Okay.
Let's go back to your train of thought right now. The way you're processing this. So you said it's inductive research, right?
Yes.
Inductive research. All right. So let's go to your. Let me go here. You have inductive research, observation, pattern, tentative hypothesis, theory. Okay. You are going to interview the users, right?
Yes.
All right. You're going to interview the users. So inductive will be used in the study utilizing interviews with users from various cities to gather insights into perceptions and evaluations of social media content. Creators' social responsibility initiatives on gender issues. Through the qualitative approach, the study aims to identify key factors that influence post-90s users' perception. So this is where it becomes important for you to see the difference between inductive and abductive, right? So the findings will then be inductively analyzed to generate a set of distinctive recommendations tailored for social media content creators and thereby enhancing social media social responsibility strategies and addressing gender-related concerns. Okay, so inductive, right, is where you would come in and analyze the categories and then you come up with the analysis, right? That is the inductive. So you have certain you are constructing it, right? Abductive is that you are getting them to interpret that thing for you. The way I look at your research, the flow of research questions, this come closer to abductive rather than inductive, right? So inductive is where the categories you are developing the categories instead of the social actors, meaning the users doing the categories. Right? Here, do you want them to define what social responsibility is, or you are defining what social responsibility is?
I want from their words, from their actions or the change to get the social responsibilities the content should have. Because from my perspective, it's just how to say that, to one side. But it's not. It's very subjective. It's not objective. From the interviews, I think it's more objective. Yeah.
And now, so what I'm hearing from you is that you would like them to define for you, right? So you want their perspective. So the first tier and the fourth tier perspective of what social responsibility is, there might be differences, right? So you want to understand that differences, right? And so and then you want to see what social responsibility according to these differences, right? So in that sense, it is not an inductive; it is an abductive research, not an inductive research. So you want to give a different type of justification, not inductive, right? So it's not. So do you want to remove this and put abductive research instead? Abductive, yeah. A, B. Right?
Abductive.
Which is another contribution you will make, because this is you're using them to interpret the data instead of you interpreting the data directly, right? So they are interpreting the data. So they will say gender because I feel that this is gender, and then the good thing is that in your research questions you have what is a non-gender issue. So you're letting them define, well, this is gender, this is non-gender, right? So this is interesting. If they feel this is a non-gender issue, this is not related to gender, that is the definition of gender and non-gender, which I think is a contribution by itself. Right? So that's abductive, by the way. That's abductive, right? So inductive, they give you the data and then you will analyze and say, well, based on what they say, this, and you have your own perspective of what gender is, and you analyze the data. Right? So that's inductive. So it's different. Yeah. Here you are asking them to define what is gender-related content, what non-gender-related content. So that's abductive. That's the change you want to make. So it's not inductive, you change it to abductive.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Our sample. All right. The final one I have, it's a question I have, and the final one for you is, if they ask you the question, right? How do you intend to, which I already asked, but I'd like you to go through with us again. How do you intend to contact the users? How do you intend to contact the users? And then you have let's go to sampling there, and you have the criteria there. You have the third criteria being the one that gives likes and whatever the comments, right? There, okay. Purposive sampling, residents in Beijing, social media, users, born in their comments, like. So how are you going to communicate? Because one of the fourth tier city is in Lhasa, right? That's in Tibet, right? Okay.
Yes.
Which I already asked the question. But okay, how are you going to answer that question again?
How
How are you going to get how are you going to get them to interview them? How do you know?
So I will search the gender-related content, and I will see if they have comments on them, or they likes. Some of likes I can see. I can see from their page. I can see they like this video, they like this content, and then I will talk them in our personal, in the personal, how to say that, chat room, and ask if you like to have an interview with me, and just I talk to them and find.
All right.
And find. It's a hard work, I think.
It is.
It didn't start. I know it's very hard.
Yes, it is hard.
But
Okay.
I'd like to use the snowball.
Okay. All right. Okay. First of all, you don't want to mention the word snowball because you're doing purposive sampling. So it's not snowballing, right? It's purposive sampling. Right? It's not. Snowballing is a different sampling method. You're doing purposive sampling. All right. Here, I'm going to go deeper into this discussion. Here is where, remember, you forward the post about gender issues on social media, right? You actually have defined what gender issues is, or what gender issues are.
Sorry, just can you say it again? Sorry.
Okay. See, your third criteria, comments, likes, forwards, the post about gender issues and social media. This is based on your opinion what gender issues are.
Yes, it's about mine.
It's your opinion what gender issues are, right? So again, remember your first research question is about asking them to define what social issue, what gender, what gender issues are, what gender issues are not. Here is where you have identified as gender issues. So how are you going to answer that question? Do you have some thoughts or? You see my point, Jane?
So maybe I'll delete this criteria. Or maybe just the users is okay.
You can remove it. That's one way to do it, right? That's one way to do it.
If I delete the third criteria, it's more simpler for me. It's more easier.
Yes, it's easier.
I have a question.
Okay.
You could use the comments from the video. You know there are lots of short videos. Lots of people may give some comments about this video.
Yes.
I think it summarize a lot of idea from the comments. Is that okay?
Then there will be a different research. It will be content analysis research. Yeah. So that's a different. Now Jane is doing a much somewhat different research now. So Jane is using interviews, in-depth interviews. So it's so now Jane, if you remove this one, right? If you remove that you see, there another way of doing this. If you want to, take gender issues, so you can identify people who are already in social media of a particular type of social media. So your research becomes much more focused. But you want to keep it general as you're doing right now, right? And make sure your purposive sampling is done in a correct way, right? So you remove the third one, right? Okay, but then I'm still going to ask the question, right? I'm still going to ask the question. And now social media users there are a lot of social media users out there, right? How are you going to identify them? There's another question.
Everyone is a social media users.
Yeah, almost everyone is a social media users. Yeah. So how are you going to? This has to do with sampling. It's a sampling issue. How are you?
Definition of it. Maybe I can. Maybe they have long time on the social media, like 1 hour or 2 hours per day. That means they are social media users. I'm not sure, but I will. Maybe I can find a definition of it.
Okay. So the challenge for you now is the sampling. That's the only thing now left in the part that you want to work on is the sampling. And remember, the sampling can alter, the sampling can change your title, right? So if you're sampling, for instance, right now, right, you're saying, okay, instead of anyone, you're just looking for influencers, for instance, right? Influencers, top influencers, you're just analyzing top influencers. Top influencers, top male influencers in 4 first-tier cities. You know the word influencers, right? Jane? You know what?
So you want
You know what influencer is? You know?
yeah, I know.
You know? Okay, good, all right. So I'm just giving an example. So your sampling become a smaller sample to choose from. If you, this is this is almost like the whole of China minus the babies, right? Because in the whole of China, almost everyone uses social media, right? Right? The teenagers use it, but then we are not talking about teenagers because we are talking about certain millennial group, right? But how are you going to get? That's the question. How are you going to get? Right? But if you identify influencers, then your title will also change. Right? The title will also change. So
Title will change.
yeah, the title will also change because if you're focusing on influencers, then you got to put in the word not just social media users. You got to put in the word social media influencers, which I think also another legitimate research, right? Because influencers are influential. By definition, they are influential. So I'm asking you to think about the sampling issue, right? So how are you going to address the sampling issue? And you will need to. This is an important part, and it's not. It's an easy target to attack. So the examiners or evaluators or whatever, right? They can come in methodology, and the sampling is one thing that they can question. So.
First of all, I would like you suggest me to change the scope from the users angle to the influencers angle.
Example. That's an example. I'm not saying you should. I'm giving you as an example. Influencers would be a group of people that you can. It's a smaller sample, and you can identify in Lhasa who's the top influencers. And you say, I'm going to choose from these top influencers, the 5 male, 5 females, or something like that. So you can talk about influencers.
Maybe,
Example, yeah. Or you want to say top officials.
It's more easier.
Top businessman, you could do that too. Best business person. Top NGOs. You can. So it means whoever you want to study.
Okay. It's too much elements in my study.
Yes, that's right. And
So I have seen Joanne has 2 questions.
yes.
From the chapter.
Who?
She.
Joanne, where?
Joanne.
Okay. Let's see. Where's the question? Where's the question? Where's the question? How come I don't see that?
She is afraid about what scope of my research. Example, what media, which contents, and which content social media that I will do the research. Because I'm not concentrate on one social media platforms. I just ask the users from my first version that I will ask them which platforms they usually use. This is my this is what I want to do, and then you can go to focus on the study first.
Yeah, what Joanne has highlighted just now is also a sampling issue, right? Because the scope of the research in this will relate to your the sampling as well. So if you're sampling people from, so example, I give you just not influencers, it could be, you're focusing mainly on TikTok or last time we talked about this, was it red or something like that? I'm not sure.
Red.
Red book.
Yeah, red book, red book, yeah.
小红书.
小红书, red book, yeah. So we discussed this before. So where you're gonna get this? So sampling is a relevant issue and very pertinent issue to look into in your proposal, in your research, and you will need to justify why you chose that particular sample. So if you look at our group supervision with Jonathan last time, right, Jonathan? I think Jonathan was also doing.
Focus on the TikTok.
Yeah. So he was giving some justification as well. So you can look at that and see how the rationality behind it, or the rationale behind choosing that, and how you justify it and all that. So again, this is a research that you want to do, right? I'm not saying that you should do the influencers. I'm giving them as an example. So which group of people you want to study and what you want to study, you will want to decide on that one, Jane. I'm saying that you want to be clear and be able to defend your choice, your decisions. Right? You only have this part. Once you have this one ready, make those improvements, you're ready to make your proposal defense. So just just do that one. That's all you need to do now. To make the corrections that I suggested to you. You don't have to present again. You just make the changes and then communicate with Puan Roshiman, Madam Roshiman. So to schedule a presentation. Yeah. So
Dr. Manny,
yes.
I have a question. That's because why I choose users, because I think the users is more accessible, because everyone is the users, because I think at first of my research, I think it's very easy. It's easier to get the users to communicate with the users better than the influencers. So I choose the users, but at that time to be honest, I have thought about the influence, because it's more, they are more sensible about the gender, if they are the gender-related influencers. But I'm not sure if I can have the interview with them. So I choose the users.
Yes, that's good thinking in terms of thinking about the viability of research. That cannot be used to justify your sampling, right? Because it's easy for me to access. That is not justification, not a methodological justification. But yes, in terms of viability of research, you want to think about access to data. You cannot use convenience as a justification for choosing the data as far as methodology is concerned. So you still need to think about how do you justify the sampling, right? Remember my earlier line of question just now with you is the evaluators or whoever might ask, how are you going to access them? But that is just something you need to you need to convince them. But in this case, it's about methodology. How do you justify methodologically? You cannot say, you choose this one because it's easy. It's not methodologically correct answer. Well, yeah, that's why I said access the data is important. It's very important. So, influencers are probably harder to access. So, then you might want to think about the people you can access better, but actually helps you in terms of sampling. The criterion that helps you in terms of sampling.
Okay.
So once you have that sorted out, you can have a short discussion with me. That's fine. Just to discuss the sampling. You do not need to present again, right? My friend graduated, his research was Twitter X about omnibus law in Indonesia. He's doing purposive sampling, social research, just to justify, which has most power in affecting this issue in X. Yes. So you could do that, right?
Okay, I will think about it and check and revise a little bit.
The sampling. Sampling is an important part. Remember, if you change your sampling, there's a chance, high probability, you will need to change your title as well, because the sampling would affect the title, because the sampling will give you different findings or focus of findings. Instead of the ones you have right now. So, in a way, sampling is the key to help define the theory too, because who you sample will give you the data to build the theory, right? The people you sample or the data that you sample will give you the findings to help you theorize. You're theorizing about the people. You're theorizing about the data from the people. If it's an interview, if it's an interviewer, So, who are you interested to? Who do you interested to theorize on? There'll be another way to think about it. To think about this, right? And remember, this is your PhD. It has a beginning and end. It's not something that not necessarily you're not solving a world problem yet. Maybe, hopefully, but not necessarily. You're almost there, Jane. It's just sampling right now. Just sampling, right?
Okay, sampling. Okay, I will think about sampling. How to get the sample?
How to get a sample, and how do you justify the sampling, right? And to get sampling is one. How to justify methodologically justifying it, right? Not just putting it in. But for you, as a person who's doing the research, you want to be able to access the data. That's very important. You access not the data, a lot of data. So that's the challenge. That's the final part of the part that you need to improve. Once you improve that one, let me know. Just show me the slide on the sampling, and then we can have a short discussion, and then they can. I might ask you certain questions, and once you can ask for proposal defense. You're ready there. Okay, Jay?
Maybe.
Huh? Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Go ahead, you have some questions to ask.
Maybe if someone has some suggestions to get this, to get my data, to get to get the users how to get the data. Maybe you can just message me.
Yeah. Anyone has some suggestion? There's a.
Just it's really hard.
I think you have clarity now. It's just sampling now. But again, sampling can change the research, right? Sampling can change the title, which the whole thing changes as far as your theory about what, about who, right? So you're talking about the earlier on is about the social media users, but this is a large group of people.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So
Clearly.
the other thing about this is the quality of research is also equally important. A lot of people do social media research, and we USM has certain quality. I've seen lousy research before, so lousy research produces lousy scholars. So social media has a lot of content in it, but my thought is if it's very shallow, then we have shallow research. Shallow research is not good research, especially for PhD. So stay strong, stay focused. So what I remember in my video about PhD success, your research question, one of them must be PhD worthy, right? So if it's not PhD worthy, then question mark. In our examination board meeting, one of the comments coming from not just one, but many comments coming from the members of the board. There's our lecturers, some lecturers in CPR. They say a lot of students from China likes to do media, social media research. Now I don't think it's just students from China. I think students now like to do social media research because it's easy. But in your case, Jane, you're not doing something easy. You're doing in-depth interviews, right? So you're not taking the data from social media and analyze it. So you're not just doing a communication research. You're doing proper social scientific research, which makes it very meaningful. So what you have is a good research design. It's just sampling. That's all. Right? If you think about whom you can access, think about whom would like to access you. Who would like to access you? Who are the people who like to access you? I tell you examples of people like to access you. MLM people, multimedia marketing people. In multimedia marketing, they like to access you. Multimedia, multi-level media, multi-level marketing. You have it. 直销. You know what 直销 is?
That's not what this has mean.
Multi-level marketing.
就是来你家，然后跟你介绍产品，推销嘛，推销员。可以这样子说。
Yeah. People who like to sell you things. they will find you. They find you. In multi, right? I remember once somebody came and sell to me. He ended up buying things from me. Because he was doing all the rapport building, right? I don't need to do rapport building. Right? He was doing all the rapport building because they're going through training on how to do rapport building. I let them do all the rapport building, and then I said, "Have you read this book on total financial planning yet?" "No, I haven't read." "Oh, then you must know. For Keystone, you must read this book. I've written this book before financial planners. You must read it." And then he ended up leaving my book. So think about it. Think about that. Jane, maybe there are people that want to look for you, and then there's another way. Get them to look for you instead of you look for them. There's another way. But these are strategies of getting responses. But then here you already have something solid here. You just want to zoom in to the people, right? Or maybe Jane, another group of people. What time is it? Or another group of people that you could focus on people who are already in the gender social media. People who are already fighting for gender issues, right? maybe you can get that group of people if you're interested in that one. But you will have a particular group of people, so you are defining that group of people. Or I don't know whether you could get the leaders of some sort, the NGO leaders, I'm not sure about politicians, politicians in China.
It's not common thing, NGO in China.
Not common, yeah. NGO isn't common, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who?
Dr. Renani, if I focus on the influencer, is there any criteria for influencers followers, or they just post the contents? I can say him is a influencer, or they should have many followers, like 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers. That is influencer, or it's just they post the contents.
Yeah,
I can say he is an influencer.
Okay. So if you identify a particular group of people as your sample, you will need to justify how you define that group of people as in your criteria, right? So influencers, there's literature on influencers as well. So some people talk about influencers from the perspective of, like you said, the content they post. But influencers usually relate to the number of followers or number of subscribers or number of users. So usually it's associated with that one, right? Subscribers or followers, right? But what you do is that you look at the definition of the influencers, and you take that definition, you operationalize it. You say, okay, I'm going to define influencers to be A, B, C. People who have 1,000 followers in the context of what I'm studying, 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers, or you define it, and you have to defend your sample. So you could do that. If you're talking about posting videos, Hanif helps me to post a lot of videos. I don't think I'm an influencer. I'm not an influencer guy. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't think myself as an influencer. I don't think myself as a.
You are an influencer as well.
I don't think myself. So number of but you can. This is the beauty of a research sampling, right? You could, for instance, you say, well, these are early influencers. They haven't reached 1,000 yet, but they already have 500 followers. So I'm focusing on early influencers, right? Why are you using this? Because I'm interested in pre-influencers instead of influencers. So you can come up with all these different ways of sampling, which leads you to different theorizing, right? So people can talk about influencers, you can talk about pre-influencers. Before they become influencers, right? Influencers have 1,000, I'm looking at 5 people who have 500 subscribers, they're just growing, and how, you can talk about that group of people. So you actually can come up with a theory of pre-influencers, for instance, right? And pre-influencers are very easier to access compared to big influencers, right? Big influencers, everyone wants to access them, right? So too many people, the products and all that. Also, companies want to access them too, right? But so you can talk about that, or you zoom into a particular group of influencers. Right, so environmental influencers or social influencers or human rights influencers. But in China, what influencers? You can talk about that. So you are developing, from the sampling, you can come up with a theory from the sampling itself, right?
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it. You can think, but I think put in some some creative energy in thinking about the group that you study. Then you might have something very meaningful, right? And you can have that, for like pre-influences. You can have a theory on pre-influences, so which can be fascinating as well. Okay, Jay. Once you have that one, you have resolved that one. Communicate with me, and then and at the same time communicate with Puan Rashima. Yeah. Oh, who's talking?
No.
It's Jay. No?
No.
Okay. All right, Jay, we are ready for the next one. You have any final thoughts, questions, comments? Anyone else wants to share thoughts?
No, can I just think about it and I text you via the WhatsApp?
Sure, can. It's a minor thing, not minor, but small, not the whole thing, just only the sample, sure.
Okay.
Okay, Jay, all right, good progress, right.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right, welcome. Chang is here now, Chang is here. So we're ready for the next one. What happened to Chang now? Toilet, okay. Let's take a 2-3 minutes break and we'll continue with Chang when he comes back. Yanling, does this help you, Sharon, the discussion? Was it useful for you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is among gamers. It has expanded to serve various communities, including study groups, hobbies, professional teams. Users can create or join servers, any servers they can join, which are organized around specific topics or interests. And within those servers, they can participate in different channels for more focused discussion. Discord also supports features like screen sharing, integrations, other apps, bots to enhance user experience. It's a very powerful one. Yeah.
I find a gap for my students' FYP. Okay.
It's a lot of things. The internet world is very silo, very compartmentalized. We do not know. Parents do not know, kids do not know, girls do not know what boys know, boys do not know what girls know, and all that. It's just how amazing how the internet is compartmentalized. It's good and bad actually. More bad than good lah. If you ask me. What's that? It's good. No stress. No. You have kids yet? Chang?
No.
No.
Maybe after PhD, I would plan if have one. No.
Alright.
After PhD.
Have you all met Chang yet? You haven't met Chang yet live, right?
This is the first time.
This is Chang,
Yeah.
Chang Chang from Perak, all the way from Perak. So that's Chia Rong, Yuan Lin,
Nice to see you.
and Ho Ming.
嘉荣 homing.
你们的大师兄啊 about to graduate, so his Viva is in November 11th.
Hopefully.
November 11th.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, so
9,
Viva.
I think 9:30.
9:30, yes. You sleep here, yeah? You gotta come and sleep here.
Yeah.
Not yet, not. Yeah, but.
I could not travel from Perak.
No, baby here, yeah, sleep here, yeah.
There's a traffic jam and I'm done.
Yeah. Travel 1 day before, 2 days before.
Yeah.
Settle in and then.
I'll be here 8:30, 8 or 8:30.
Yes, that's good. And when the door opens, our postgraduate room is open basically 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are ready now. Okay, let's roll.
Okay, I make it in 15 minutes.
It's okay, you can present the whole thing and then we will talk about it. But okay, you're ready with the 15 minutes presentation.
I try to practice 2 times.
Alright, good. You have done that, that's good.
Okay, right, okay. Okay, I'll immerse in this condition, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, selamat sejahtera and good morning, respected panel of members, so supervisor, Prof. Riwani, examiner and attendees. Thank you for being here today. I'm Chang and it is my honor to present my PhD title, The Construction of Malay Identity in National Museum, a study on selected national museum in Peninsular Malaysia. The second one. Yeah, okay, so the first one is actually the background, and this research is about National Museum, a public or national cultural institution that preserve, archive, maintain and showcase on Malay identity, and it represents the narrative of Malay identity that promote in the loop of nation state. So the museum itself in a nation state framework, it reconstruct and presenting Malay identity to the public. But what I'm studying here is actually the exhibition, the content part of actually the museum. I'm not looking at the museum audience. So the third one, power dynamics. When I talk about power dynamics, that museum, it is not actually a neutral space. Museum is actually a microcosm that actually preserve a selected historical memory that trying to highlight, carefully selected, and the museum displays and exhibition hall is actually clear-cut and carefully arranged on its order, and it actually sustaining by the nation state again and again. That's why in terms of museum exhibition, the presentation of artifacts, the order of actually the things in a limited space, it is actually being guided by certain value of its context and its time. So the arrangement of artifacts is would manifest the value of the institutional power. Here, what I mean institutional power is the nation state. So the museum, the last one, I'm looking at actually the arrangement and the orders of things. And in museum study, this is what we call it as the afterlife of the artifacts. You actually repurpose any museum universally. It repurposes material cultures turning into artifacts, artifacts turning into museum display, and it brings to what we call it as mini-making. The mini-making here is actually Malay identities in Malaysia nation state. Okay, next second. Okay, here so I have 3 research questions in this study. How do national museums in Malaysia portrays Malay identity? The second one, what are the historical narratives for the Malay identities in museum display and museum dioramas of the national museums in Malaysia? Third, what is the typology for alternative discourse, the potential alternative discourse for the portrayal of Malay identities in the national museums in Malaysia? And seterusnya. Okay, so here, because of the time limit, I will actually, my theoretical consideration and literature review divides into 3 parts. The first part, Anthony Mueller, evergreen reading about Malayness and Malay identity by Anthony Mueller and Andaya will tell us that a spectrum of time frame that actually how Malay identity changes. And this kind of changes in sociology and anthropology, when we deal with ethnicity, we know that it is actually, ethnicity is something fluid. Ray will actually talk about nationalism, how identity binds when it comes to the needs of nation state, when it comes to nationalism and ethno-nationalism. Anthony Ray. The last one, I don't know whether I pronounce it correct or not, Hitchman will actually talk about the genesis of race and ethnicity, that categorization of race by the colonial power in British Malaya. These are the so-called evergreen reading when it comes to Malayness and also Malay ethnicity. For museum studies, I will choose Burnett and Nee. Burnett talks about hegemonic diorama, exhibitionary complex, and also uses of Foucault in terms on theory to look at actually museum space and exhibitional. And his work, what derived from it is actually a term called the exhibitionary complex, intact with actually the idea of Antonio Gramsci hegemony. Neil will actually look at national galleries and also national museum, how actually a private institution about archive collections, Wunda Kamar Museum, transformed into public institution. Abdul Talib, I found it actually a gap. A museum that studies on the niche of power dynamics is still needed in Malaysian framework, and Abu Talib is one of the classical reading that talks about studies about National Museum in Malaysia. Lichi, honestly, I can't remember at the moment. Okay, but for the power one, I actually here I apply Foucault's idea on the study on in terms on look at discipline, how discipline change and influence to the museum, and also what we call it as episteme and also heterotopia, which is looking a lot of realities that actually binded together in the museum. Benedict Anderson will actually look at how actually museum it is developed in the needs of the nation state and for future usage. Future usage bring a meaning here. Museum is not static, but it is actually for the future use to bind actually the people together. That's Benedict Anderson on the idea of imagined community. Cooper will actually talks about how colonial imprints come in picture and the needs of a post-colonial discourse. So this here the theoretical construction and this is how I look at museum at a intersectional between these three pillars in literature review. Thanks, Hanif. Okay, so in terms of the research methodology, I'm using inductive research strategy, and here inductive here I'm trying to actually make in terms on theory. Museum as a social phenomena, so I'm trying to explain the theory, whether it is actually can explain the social museum as a social phenomena in actually the findings, and also I make conceptual explanation in this particular thesis. And of course, National Museum, I use national museums in Malaysia as a case study, the federally and stately, so it is actually embedded case study, cuts into actually 15 national museums. So how actually I analysis it is from the research question, research problem, and the literature review, I actually divide it and categorize it into themes as actually sub-themes into unit analysis to actually driven to as a vehicle to find my finding. And 15 the data collection consisted 15 national museums, selected national museums in Malaysia, and every actually artifacts in the diorama and exhibition hall, it is actually been archived to actually analyze. Here I exclude the nature section. Okay, yeah, Hanif, thanks. Okay, so when it comes to actually the finding, 9 minutes. When it comes to the findings, the main findings, I find that arsenic gravestone, it is actually to repurpose to actually highlight on the ornaments and the Islamic elements, which is important important in Malaysia. And the second one, this museum display replica of actually the ships highlights in terms of the museum. We found that it actually highlights on ship, which is much more represented would be PNC ship model, and the ships, the miniature of the ship is actually used to represent in terms of empire. So these are actually the value that actually used to narrate, or you look at the ship model, and this is the Sriwijaya ship, this is the Majapahit ship. Okay, the third one, maps is always embedded with power, and yeah, I'm obsessed to maps. So, but here in National Museum, the display of maps, it is actually repurposed to the maps of Nusantara is actually repurposed to actually show the migration route from the Sulawesi, so-called intact with the idea of primordial land of Bugis to actually peninsular Malaysia. So it is always back to the Malaysia framework, it backs to the Malaysia framework. And it in terms on maps also repurposed to show that religious usage on the typography of Achinese gravestone, and also I found markers that it tries to actually show that the Islamic population in so-called the Malay archipelago, but the map shows Peninsular Malaysia and parts of Sumatra, and of course maritime trade routes, and where is actually the sunken ship model. Migration includes how Minangkabau actually come to actually the sub-nation state of Negeri Sembilan. But the modern term migrations are used in a museum compared to actually anak dagang, what is that term already? The term merantau, yeah, merantau. Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, so here I have the themes that Sriwijaya, Majapahit, and Malacca is actually the ancient regime that actually orbiting actually the museums. But you can see that Sriwijaya and Majapahit the representation had been reduced. It is all about Malacca, 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 and Malacca. Okay, so the museum exhibition about imperial and colonialism in the Malay world. The Portuguese colonialization will actually shows that it brings destruction to the Malay world, to Malay archipelago. There's always a representation of agony and destruction. Dutch, possible it is actually much more equal partnership in actually the Malay world. British, it is cruel, but it is much more towards the Empire of Papers, when treaty are actually represented, and like Bangor Treaty, diorama is actually represented, and also the British faster coming is actually the colonial modernity in the Malay world, and Pope and the nation states come into the picture. It stopped there on the museum display. Siam, the colonialization is being actually reduced to actually the golden flower, and it is much more minor when it comes to Siam as actually a colonial power, but that can be argued. Okay, the number 7, when it comes to Malay manuscripts, a lot of actually manuscripts that actually become artifacts or museum display, it is actually much more towards Jawi text, okay, Jawi text, Malay manuscripts, and also story narrate in terms on science, technology, and the nation founding narratives. Okay, the last one, the possible, the so-called a character of so-called towards Hang Tuah is been highlighted. In Museum Negara, it highlights as Hang Tuah and actually Malay. But in Malacca Palace Museum, you actually highlight a diorama, Hang Tuah actually in a fighting scene with actually another Malay hero. Possible I infer is actually Hang Jebat. Okay, right. Hanif, yeah. 14 minutes. Okay, so here in this research, I formulate evidence. The first one, of course, we know that in a microcosm, you actually the narrative had been actually selected, but the selection here is how it is actually the continuity of it is to maintain the continuity of the nation state itself, and the orders of things actually shows that when it comes to Foucault, power is actually not hushed, but power is actually being normalized, and it is actually being internalized. So the order of things shows the idea of nation states come picture, and when come to actually public institution, cultural institution of Malaysia, show that it is actually the NCP framework of a Malacca-centric idea in I formulate evidence that I would conclude it is Malacca-centric for a lot of museums, but can be argued. Okay, what are the second RQ2? It shows that when it comes to invented tradition and imagined community, museum actually tends to actually there is actually a famous quote in Benedict Anderson saying that the members of the state do not know each others, but there is actually museum, newspaper, now possible social media, public institution, social media, which is actually to frame actually the people in actually a imagined community called the nation state Malaysia. And the museum actually, I conclude that the evidence shows that highlight in terms on the museum is actually the pre-colonial of Malacca, Sriwijaya and Majapahit have been reduced, and it highlights a lot on the colonial period. But you can find that for the museum is quickly and faster, it actually goes into the post-colonial leads that binds actually Malayness together in a nation-state framework, but it reduced into actually further explanation. Okay, number third one, when it comes to heterotopia, I will use an analogy. It's actually like world between world. It is like, okay, in a museum space, you have a lot of interpretation. It is Foucault's ideas when you repurpose what is gravestone. It brings actually that. It brings actually idea in religion. That's the place that your relation between God, but it become actually a artifact that shows the identity of religion, etc. The original explanation by Foucault that used by certain scholar is actually how grave in the Middle Age period, it actually why grave is actually in the medieval city of ancient Europe. It is actually it represents eternal moment in terms of grave, but grave would actually later on it is actually affiliated to death. So you can see that the graveyard or cemetery move away from actually modern city nowadays, right? Okay, so what I mean the analogy here is, so besides actually the interpretation on the nation state, that is actually a loop when you look at Merantau, you look at Kerajaan, well, you look at Harta Pusaka, etc., etc. The local knowledge is actually important to interpret back museum and etc. Okay, right. Okay, so here by the types of contribution, I'll say that theoretical contribution will tell that it is possible to do a research by the intersectional study on power dynamics and also museum studies. Empirical contribution will say I find that museum dynamics, any identity, etc., is actually needed in Malaysia, and certain things that I will find that museums that the display can act affiliated to six historical sphere in Malaysia, but for Sulu Sultanate and Brunei Sultanate, it been actually reduced. But to mention Sulu Sultanate and Brunei Sultanate, it is because it is actually on the land of Borneo. So like Sulu Sultanate, it do not actually mention the part of Mindanao Island in the Philippines, a modern nation state of Philippines. For policy contribution is, I think it is actually important in terms on Nusantara or Malay archipelago as a multiculturalism cosmology, because museum, it is not actually archiving certain things which is bad, but it's for actually the future usage. But what I mean here is there is a need in terms of museum to connect in terms of the Bay of Bengal and the Malay archipelago and the South China Sea. But recently, you do not actually have much the connectivity in terms on the Samudra or actually the sea. Okay. Besides this, the policy contribution would be, we can see that in United Kingdom, you have SOAS, you have British Museum that's still generating knowledge about the Malay world, and Singapore will use actually the study on the Malay world to actually shape and brand Singapore as the center of the Malay archipelago. So it is a need of Malaysia to actually center itself as a multiculturalism Malaysia, multilingual Malaysia, multi-religion Malaysia, multilingual, multi-ethnic Malaysia. So it might actually bring to actually I would like to say, not to revise national cultural policy, but incrementalism in public policy is always you add on towards certain things, like to make actually Malay sub-ethnic group much more profound than nowadays. Than actually what happened in the museum now. Right, okay, thank you. So in a nutshell, I would say that intersectional study that we can possibly look at Malay ethnicity as in the nation state framework, and the museum display museum exhibition can manifest the order, can actually manifest the institutional value, but it can possible being contested. The contested here is not to just to critique, but to actually build up alternative discourse, and the museum text is embedded in terms on modern episteme, when the history of progress come in picture, and so-called modernity is actually intact in a post-colonial state called Malaysia. So when you develop museum, it is actually from the colonial period. It is sure that the value, how actually you divide the museum space, is actually very Western binded. Okay, and disciplinary power do influence museum. So that's actually my conclusion. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. 22 minutes. 22 minutes.
22 minutes, yeah.
To cut down.
20 minutes. Okay. Okay, you start. How do you feel, Chang?
Looking for major correction.
Oh, cool. What? Looking for major correction for what? We're talking about Bible.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about your presentation or what?
After Waiwa,
After Bible.
I'm looking on the worst case scenario.
Oh, right.
I'm looking on the worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, that's not the worst case. Worst case is not, you do not want to have worst case. I mean, how do you feel about presenting?
Nervous.
Nervous,
Yeah, nervous. That some of the words and some of the points, I forgotten this, I forgotten this.
Yeah, you kind of realize it when you present, when you are presenting, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. So, partly you might feel what makes you feel nervous?
The question, the possible questions that would actually ask.
Okay.
Yeah. So it can actually from everywhere, and especially the method, and because I'm using inductive, but I better say it now. But they concern would I have theoretical understanding, but if they keep on asking what's your theoretical framework, I'm going to answer this.
Okay.
And is the data, although it actually reach a so-called point of saturation, because when you find that Bugis Annex is there, Minangkabau Annexity is there, but would actually people say that the data is enough for actually a PhD worthy? So these are my concerns. You see, Prof is shaking. My hand is shaking.
I must. All those thoughts are coming together at this moment, you think? So you feel the anxiety, the nervousness due to all those thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so now, what we want to do, I think that's an important part that needs to be resolved, right? You will have content due to the nervousness or the way you present, the content was not conveyed effectively.
Yeah.
It's not conveyed effectively. So your thesis is already a strong thesis. So now it's a matter of, we're talking about the Viva stage, which is about preparation for the presentation and the content of the conversation during Viva, right? So the point here is, when it comes to presentation, it's true for all of you, is not to eliminate all those factors, but to still have the anxiety and still be able to communicate.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Right. And this is true for you all who haven't presented, yeah? It's not about removing the anxiety, it's not about removing the fear, but it's to still have the fear, still have anxiety, but still can do it. Right? That's the, otherwise you have to eliminate A, B, C, D, F, G before you can deliver. No. You can have all this, but you still can deliver. That's the point. Right? That's why I'm asking you all to make a lot of presentations. So that after a while, presentation becomes like a second nature to you, right? So you present it so many times that it becomes second nature. It doesn't matter what problem you have, you can still deliver, you can still deliver, right? So that's why I'll be asking you to present one more time, so that this is not a presentation that we want to see during the Viva. Right? You do have content, but the presentation needs to be much more effective. Now I have, as usual, I have the guide, the Viva, the checklist of Viva to guide you all, right? And I've shared that many times, and I think in our Telegram group also I've shared this one too. So the principles, the checklist for preparation for Viva. But let me look at the content before I talk about other things, yeah. And the important part of content, as I saw, was the contribution. You talk about empirical contribution. Hani, can you go to the empirical contribution, which is the second last slide, or the third last slide, I think. Second last or third? Yeah, okay. Why do you call it empirical?
Because it's actually derived from the finding itself. So it is a social phenomenon. I don't know whether my interpretation is appropriate. So it's in terms on the museum display, like what actually I find that's actually loops. Like if you go to so-called the southern part and also the middle part of peninsula, you'll find that maybe that Malacca framework is actually much more attached to the museum. But if you go to Kedah and Perlis and Kelantan, that is actually another framework of you attach to, that's actually certain smells of the Patani, and especially towards Kelantan. That's actually another framework which is quite different from Malacca.
Well, my question is, why do you use empirical?
Empirical, because I thought it is actually from the data.
Okay, I see. Right. So, you want to remove the empirical because it's, so when we talk about contribution, right, or vacuum or gaps, right? So when we say empirical vacuum or empirical contribution, is that something has not been researched or has not been analyzed empirically, right? So empirical vacuum is a research that has been conducted in Yogyakarta, in Penang, in Shanghai, but not in Kuala Lumpur. So it's an empirical vacuum, right? So something is empirical, so it's not conceptual, it's not theoretical, right? For PhD, what we are looking for is actually theoretical contribution, conceptual and theoretical contribution. So yes, it is coming from your data, but the contribution is theoretical, okay? Especially inductive research. Inductive research is a research to arrive at theorizing. Yeah. So if you want to be able to say that now you have a theory of the museums in Malaysia right now. So this should be your theoretical contribution. So your theoretical contribution is made 8 types of theoretical contribution or 8 dimensions of your theoretical contribution, right?
Okay.
Consider explanation of theories on the research in selected. There you go.
Okay.
Explanation of theories,
Theories.
right? So you can talk about theoretical contribution connecting to different aspects of the theory. So the word you want to remember empirical to theoretical contribution.
Okay.
Right? And PhD is something that important vis-a-vis the word philosophy. So PhD, P there is philosophy, PhD is philosophy. Doctorate of philosophy, that's what PhD is, right? So which means it's a theoretical, it's conceptual. So you want to be able, and this is actually an important slide that you want to highlight, right?
Okay.
So what theoretical contributions have you made? And you want to say you have made the contribution for all this, right? And how is this connected to existing theory? You mentioned Foucault a number of times, and you want to say that this has extended or challenged the theory of Foucault, or that is the part that you want to highlight in the presentation as far as theoretical contribution is concerned. The other thing is that let's talk about the overall presentation of what you did just now. So you spend a lot of time doing the literature review, right? I think half of the time you were on literature review. So you were at 11:32, you were still at literature review, right? If you started at 11:25 or so, but 10 minutes, just spend almost 10 minutes.
More than that.
You reach only at literature review, right? So literature review is the part that you do not want to spend too much time on, because you would want to spend more time on the findings and, more importantly, the analysis of the findings, where it connects to the theoretical contribution, right? So you want to spend at least 1/3, 30% of the time, or maybe 40% of the time on the findings and the analysis that connects to the theoretical contribution. So you want to be able to say this, right? With this thesis, I have advanced the discourse of Malaysian museums in various areas. So I have advanced the discourse, the theory of museums in Malaysia in this area, in this area, in this area, right? So that is the type of presentation you want to be able to say. So as far as the contribution is concerned, there are 3 things I want to convey. Number 1, number 2, number 3, right? This is, by the way, in my guide. So that is the shift in the content of the presentation that you want to make, right? Shifting it more to the findings, more importantly, the analysis, because you have a lot of findings, which is good, right? Now it's actually conveying the most important part of your findings to convince the examiners that this is a worthy research, this is a theoretically worthy research, that you have advanced the knowledge of whatever field you carried out, right? And you have either challenged your theory, extended a theory, transformed a theory, that kind of thing as well. You want to be able to say that. So redesign your presentation, right, towards that. Yeah? And I would like to see more of that. So of course this one you will need to change. It's an empirical contribution to theoretical contribution. Theoretical / conceptual contribution. Theoretical or conceptual, right? So, and you did mention about, remember I said that 1/3 to half of the presentation should be on the findings part, right? So, one of the things you highlighted was it's just Malacca-centric, right? Means the museum was Malacca-centric. So this is what you want to be able to say that my key findings are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't go beyond 7, right? But my key findings, there are more, but I'm going to highlight 3 or 4 or 5. Yeah? 7 is a bit too many because the brain of the human tend to be average 7 points. And so the whole phone numbers are 7. Right? There's a logic to this, there's a memory logic to this. So, but the best is to say 3, There are 3 things, there are 3 things, there are 3 things. Usang Puchanli, those top. Always there are 3 things, right? So there was 1, 2, 3 at a time. The power of 3 is very good during PhD Viva. Right? And then it's 1, and it's 2 and 3. You go to 4 and 5, then you might lose it. And, okay, this is the overall thing, right? I have shared this one before with you all. Let me. I will pass to. Okay, I can share screen, right?
Yeah. Start share.
It's easy for me to. But okay, I can share screen. Let's go to this one. I'll share screen. Yeah, where is it? Maximize. There. Okay. I have too many screens here to share. I have too many words to share. This is the one I'm working on. The one. This one. Alright, that one. Are we there? Okay, there you go. Alright. You can find this one in our Telegram. I talked about this one. So now I will talk about it again because of this one. This is a long way before your Viva, so you have time, right? Usually I will ask you all to make this presentation about 1 week or 10 days before Viva. But I haven't heard your presentation for a long time, so that's why I'm pushing you to make this presentation. So you're going to make the second presentation after this, right?
Okay.
But this is the guide for it, right? So yeah, honey is a bit cold, honey. Because the air conditioner is going straight to me. Maybe that's another thing, right? But this is early. Usually this become even more helpful when it comes closer to the Viva. So now you have about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. The Viva is 11, right? Now it's 24th. So you have about 3 weeks. But since you're going to make again, so this is a good practice. So the first principle is principle. These are 12 principles, right? So the first principle is principle of sensing. So usually people say, "Oh, go in, make it argument, make it strong, make it." No, don't be strong, be gentle. Oh, don't be gentle. So I said the first most important principle is sensing. Where do I learn this from? I learned it from Yong Chun Quan. So stand up. I've done this before, right? So Yong Chun, right? Yong Chun, this is the practice of Yong Chun, right? You remember, anyone I've actually learned a bit of it. So you can feel my energy going in. You can feel when he push me, I can feel the energy coming. So what you do is in Yong Chun Quan, you do not attack, you do not defend. You sense the energy coming in with. You just respond according to the energy that's coming in, right? So So the same. This is experiential, but the same thing. When the examiner asks, you need to know: is this asking me to defend or asking me to find facts?
That's the thing.
Asking me to. Questioning me or attacking me, which one is it, right? So you do not want to punch immediately, right? Because they're just asking for facts, right? So what you want to do is do the sensing. If you're not sure about the sensing, you ask, can you repeat the question again? Or asking me for these facts, I just repeat it, right? Now, why am I telling you this? This one is connected to principle number 2, but still going principle number 1. I have students before that the examiners bombard, just attack like Israel bombs, keep on bombing, and the person, right? But the end, my student passed, right? I have another case, but the student said, it is my mistake, I will correct that. That was a student, it was my first student, but the first student I supervised a long time ago. Now he's a lecturer. Yeah. So he just apologized. I'm sorry, this is my mistake, it's my weakness, my mistake. I'll correct that, it's my weakness, I correct. So, by the end, the examiner said, very good student, you got very open, anything you suggest, I said, right. And I have another student from China, my first student from China, right. Whatever examiner says, she'll fight against the judge. She will fight against the examiner. Right? I was quite concerned because she was fighting all the way against the examiners. Yeah. Examiners, but not more than one, right? But at the end of the Viva, she still succeeded because the examiner says she knows her stuff very well. She's good, she knows how to defend, she knows her stuff very well. If they were to switch position, both will fail, right? Because it matches the energy coming in and the energy responding matches. So you need to have that match. If you do not have that match, it's problematic. But the match only can be answered, only be known during the Viva. I cannot help you at that time, right? So the Viva, there was only I tell my students this, whether you believe it or not, only you and God can help you, right? I cannot help you anymore then, because I cannot say anything. So you need to be able to learn to do it, or God come in and do something for you. So you need to be able to sense. So do not attack before you sense. I have one student who did the opposite. He is the best. He's from Malaysia, by the way. He was the best student when he was doing his undergraduate, right? From some more, right? And he's a good student. But he was a psychology student, right? So he was into profiling. He was profiling this examiner, profiling the examiner, profiling the chairperson, profiling. So he was responding based on his profiling, you know what I mean? That's a mistake. You do not profile. You think this guy is a racist, this guy is friendly, don't do that. Don't do that. Because you do not know, the guy might dress up that way, but he might have different intentions. So you look at the action, not the appearance, right? Look at the voice and all that, right? So he went in strong, this student. There are only 2 students who had problems with during the Viva stage. He's one of them, who had a revival, right? He's one of them, right? He was going there, he was, I'm actually a good student, and I was, oh my God. And the chairperson at that time wanted to help me. The chairperson, right? Not the examiner, the chairperson. You have chairperson. The chairperson said, okay, let's go through your thesis page by page. Wow, he said, this is damaging, man, it was damaging. So he ended up, he went in strong, he came up weak, but it was a revival, but then eventually passed, right? So thank God for that one. So do not profile people at the beginning. I even have some other students, postgraduates. So woman, by the way, he said, please don't choose a woman examiner. Woman examiner is bad, especially women who was not married. I said, you're a woman, how can you say that about women? Please don't choose a woman examiner, especially a non-married woman. I said, please, This is, by the way, Indonesian. But I ended up choosing a woman examiner who is not married too, right? But because he's the right examiner for her, so it was good, right? So it is good, you know. So she was wrong. Don't do this profiling, this, you know, presumption about a person should be like this. No. Right, so yeah, so you can have that. So very, very sexist point of view from coming from woman to another woman. It's not good, not good. So going back, but the sensing is so important. So this is where your empathy comes in. You just look at the examiner, let me understand what you're saying. So your tone is different. You want to understand, right? You want to understand. This is what you're telling me. This is what this is what you're asking me. So you are communicating with the examiner. Right? Always communicating with the examiner. Always connecting. Right? Always connecting with the examiner. Right? So always. So the sensing mode must always be there. You need to. This is from 0 to 20, 30, 1 hour. Always sensing, right? So see the point there, I said to counter argue or not counter argue. It depends on the sensing. It depends on the energy, right? So and to change or not to change your thesis, right? The examiner will say you should change this part. Okay, if the examiner says you haven't covered this literature, right? Please cover this literature. You cover it, there's no problem, right? If the change is only 1 page, accept the changes. Say, okay, I'll make the correction. When do you not want to change? When they ask you to do new data. That's where you want to defend your case, to collect new data, which means this is a resubmission. To collect new data is a resubmission, right? Resubmission meaning you're getting a 4. It's the pass with very, very minor, and then basically there's no correction. There's minor correction, there's major correction, there's resubmission. Resubmission is number 4. Number 5 is fail, right? So when they ask you to collect new data, you haven't covered this data, that's where you want to defend your case. That's where you want to defend your data. That's why in the thesis strategy, I always emphasize, when you look at the video I talked to you, you must have a lot of data, strong data. Data is the shield. You have strong data is a shield. That your king, your queen cannot fall. Yeah, if it's Xiangqi is the Wang, who's that? Is Xiangqi who's the
Jiang,
the number 1, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't fall because you're protecting it. As long as your number 1 doesn't fall, you will pass. Right? And that protection, that shield comes from your data. Right? The data is the one that's protecting it. Right? So remember that one. So data is where you want, when they ask you to change data, that's where you got to defend. Because this is your fault. Right? You open up that fault, they'll kill your king. Right? They can kill your king. I mean, you can still escape by having resubmission, but you open up the problem there. They are saying that you have collected the wrong data. Oh, that's bad. You don't want to go there. Right? But other than that, if they say, oh, you haven't covered this literature, you haven't made this argument, you change, no problem. The best part is they ask you to cut. This is too much. Why do you cover it? Take this away. Oh, that's good. Meaning your strategy is working, right? Because cutting is always a good thing. And you want to let them to cut, it's a Sun Tzu strategy. Let them attack what you want them to attack. You divert them to the battle that you can win, right? And the battle of removing is a winning battle, right? They say, this is bad, so the energy is wasted on removing. Oh, that's good. They don't waste energy on attacking your thing. That's a good thing. It's a good Sun Tzu strategy. That's why a lot of data is good data. So that's number 1. I spend a lot of time on number 1 because it is the most important part of all. Maybe the most one. Number 2 is principle of the mighty coconut tree, as I talked about. Number 2, right? Correct or not to correct. So the point here is, although I said the mode is sensing, in the Viva, the default mode is sensing with humility. You're always humble. right? Never be arrogant, right? You just never be angry, always humble, right? And if you need to, you let the wind blow if it's or no little impact at all. Just like my first student, you let the wind blow, and after the wind blows, you stand up again. It's like a coconut tree, right? You cannot, it takes an earthquake to blow down a coconut tree. So coconut tree is not easy to, and that's why it's by the seaside. The strong winds, they still come in, come back, come back. So you say, I stand corrected. This is a good point. I take note. I'll make the changes. There's no problem at all. Right? So you take the blow. It's okay. Let them criticize you, right? And you expect that to happen. In the Malaysian context, well, outside Malaysia too, right? But in the Malaysian context, the examiners are critical. But outside Malaysia too, but in Malaysia especially, they like to be critical. But some examiners feel that if you do not sweat, it's not a PhD. That's the best examiner. But usually they come back and say, "Oh, congratulations, you made it." After you've been blown, but it's okay. But at the beginning, you need to be able to be, that Muhammad Ali, that Tyson, let people hit you first. So let them hit you. It's okay. It's okay. That's fine. Don't worry about that challenge about this, right? So you need to be strong in withstanding this one, right? Okay. So number 3, a principle of clarity. So this is what I told you just now. Use listing. There are 3 things. So this tell me. This one classic question asked. Tell me about you don't look at your thesis. Tell me about your thesis. So immediately there are 3 things about my thesis. 1, 2, 3, something like that. But you should be able to say that.
Okay.
Or they say in a short paragraph, tell me about thesis. I always go back to the 3 things. My thesis is about this 1, 2, 3. You need to be clear about this 1, 2, 3 things, and that applies to all the chapters. So you need to be able to say, okay, tell me about your methodology. My methodology, number 1, is about research design. My research design is this. My data collection is about this. My data analysis is about this. 1, 2, 3, right? What's your contribution? There are 3 main contributions. 1, 2, 3, right? So, you can go more than 3, 4, 5. It's fine, right? There's no problem with that one. So you can say I have many, but let me highlight 3 things for you, right? But if you need to go more than 3, go ahead. I'm saying that this is a general rule of thumb. Go 3, then it's easy for you to remember. So this is something you must memorize. You need to be able to memorize. 1, 2, 3. This just about anything. And one of there'll be one good examiner. Usually, there's a good examiner who said this. What inspired you to do this? Usually, it's a good examiner. What inspired you? What were you thinking when you do this? What was your thoughts? Usually, it's an emotional examiner. That's a good examiner. So you want to say, they're inspired. And you need to tell what is it. Tell truthfully, but what is it that inspired you to? So you can tell that story. Keep it simple too. You can keep it to 3 again if you need to, right? So if you can look at it, you can be. My point there is you can briefly and clearly, convincingly explain your thesis, your problem statement, your methodology, your key findings, your contribution, all 3, all of those. So your problem statement, there are 3 things about my problem statement. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 things about my methodology. 1, 2, 3. My key findings. 1, 2, 3. Again, 3 is just a guide. You can do more than 3, right? But 3 usually it becomes very convincing, right? So those are the essences of argument. All this. The principle number 3 is about principle of clarity. So when you have that clarity, it's easy to communicate, right? Even when you have the anxiety, that's the whole idea, right? So you make representation many times, so the presentation becomes second nature, but the clarity gives you the content to convey, right? And to convey and to convince. You're making it very convincing. So people say, he knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. Right? And this thesis, he wrote this. Okay, number 4, contribution to knowledge. So I extract up as an important principle, and as I noted just now, that's the slide that is important. You want to highlight that slide more. If you need to, you can break that slide into 2 or 3, right? So you want to spend a lot of time on how you have advanced knowledge, how you have contributed to knowledge, right? Number 4, right? Number 5, principle reaffirming. This happens. Sometimes examiners will bombard you. They ask you question 1, and then question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. In one sentence, they ask you all this. So then you are not clear about what the questions were, right? There are 2 main questions, right? So what you do is this. Remember, all research is about answering research questions. You go back. My thesis statement, my research questions are 1, 2, 3. So this is how I problematize, or this is how my methodology will be based on how I want to answer my research question, or my findings is about answering my research question. So your anchor or your compass is always the research questions, right? So this is true for proposal defense too. When proposal defense, your research question will become the anchor. The anchor is your research question. So are you asking the right research question? Are your research questions PhD worthy? I know that is going back to that one. So if there are many questions coming to you, or they say the problem with your thesis is this, that, you go back to your research question and your thesis statement, right? Okay, that's number 5. So that about reaffirming, reconnecting to the center, right? Number 6, principle of aligning and redirecting. This is Tai Chi Chuan. So you're using the energy of the opponents to defeat the opponent. This is Tai Chi Chuan. Right. 赢化借木 right. So
以柔克刚 以柔克刚
以柔克刚 What does that mean? 以柔
the soft to actually
low is soft. 克刚 is 金刚的刚。
就是 soft way to combat the strong.
The strength. 以柔 is 柔软的柔。
柔软 soft.
like
克刚。
克制就是like 咏春 bitter. like 咏春。克 means beaten. Get someone beaten.
Beaten. Beat. 刚
is something harsh.
Something harsh. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. 以柔克刚。Okay. So avoid the word but. B-U-T. Never use the word but. Replace the word but with and. Right? Never use the word but. That's a very good question, but you're negating the good question now. Okay. Your point is very, very important, but yes, but no. You replace the word but with and. That's an important question.
Yeah.
Your point is very valid, and this is how I do it. This is how I do it. So when you use and, it becomes his energy or energy back to the person. Right? And so it's and you're connecting the energy.
Okay.
You're not fighting energy, because the power is with the examiners. You do not have the power. I don't have the power, right? So I told you there's only God and you. God has the power, but God is going to come in and help you. So you want to use the energy of the examiners so avoid the word but, right? Avoid the word but, and you want to recognize the examiner's point, right? How do you recognize? You recognize by saying that's a very important question. Right? Don't say interesting. Interesting is not the positive word in the context of Bible, right? Because interesting is like, yeah, that's an interesting question, but but it's important. You're recognizing it's important, right? That's very important. Right? So avoid but, use and, recognize the important, recognize the concept, and the other one is to repeat to the satisfaction of the examiner. Let me understand what you said just now. This is what you said, and this isn't it. You repeat. So when you repeat, you're saying that the person feels acknowledged, and I feel that okay, this is the student, the candidate understands what I'm saying. So you want to make the examiner align with you. The student understand, the candidate understand what I'm saying. So this is the important part. So to align and redirect. Let me understand what you're saying. You repeat first. So this is Stephen Covey, and seek to understand before you to be understood, right? So I get your point. Let me say, tell me. I don't know that. So let me understand what you said. Let me repeat so that I understand you correctly. So that's how you do it. And sometimes by doing that, you might find out that you do not understand what the person is saying. And they say, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The examiner will say that. So, but here is, remember your humility, you're being humble. So you're humble so that you can deliver your message. So avoid the word but, use the word and, recognize whatever the examiners say as important, has been valuable. Thank you so much for that question. That's a very important question. That kind of thing. It's like reality show. There's a lot of reality show. The jury comment, all the criticize. Thank you so much.
Sorry. If can I say, please correct me if I'm wrong.
You could do that. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You could do that. But I think this is in the Chinese culture. There's no problem. For the Chinese culture, there's no problem. So it's not. There's not with my student last time. He's a Chinese student too, from Universiti of Malaysia. He was going. He comes from a tradition of psychology to profile. No profile people. Number seven. Principle of material preparation. This is what happened, right? That the examiner will say, tell me where in your findings that you say this. You do want to do that. Oh God, that's bad. So material preparation is about sorry, this is not yet that. Hold on. This is not the point yet. This is about a material preparation is about make a list of what you must bring and check before you leave. Okay? There's a checklist before you leave. So that, because on that day, the anxiety will usually go up, right? You feel anxious, you feel, 紧张, so you make a list, make sure you have your thesis, make sure you have your PowerPoint, make sure you have your printouts, make sure you have, all those things, right? Make a list, and so when you go out, you bring you're ready, right? This is, by the way, from the military. They have checklists, right? Checklist will make sure you do not forget anything. That's why when you take the plane, when you fly the plane, you have checklists too, because you do not want to suddenly forget that you forget to fuel the oil into the plane before you fly. You have a checklist, right? So checklist is a military logistical training there, right? It's coming from my father who's a checklist. So you have material preparation, check before you leave, right? Number 8, principal presentation. So PowerPoint presentation, this is principle number 8. Keep it short, put in the extras at the back, meaning with some answers. So if you have points to make, like want to expand on your literature or expand on your findings, put it after thank you. So your presentation is more than just 6 slides or 7 slides. You have more slides than that, but after that, right? So when the examiner asks, can I look back at your slide? I say, okay, let me point to this. After the slide, you still have the slides, right? And they put it there. with some answers to expected answers and unexpected questions as well. Okay, so, and then still principle presentation. This is when the maybe relevant, maybe not relevant now. Sometimes the chairperson, right, the chairperson of the Viva would say, straight away ask you to present. They ask me to present without a slide, right? That can happen. It has happened before, right? Present without a slide. We all have read your thesis now, right? Now you just present it verbally. You don't need the slide. There's an example. At that time, you can, if you have handouts, you print out the handouts. You can still give the examiners, right? So you have the handouts to guide the examiner. You still have that, so print out. The issue is sometimes it's online. Right? If it's online, you do not have the advantage of handing out that one, right? And if it's online and the chairperson say you cannot present, you have 5 minutes, just do a verbal presentation, you need to be ready. You need to be ready, but you can still look at your slide and you still have your laptop with you, but be ready to make the presentation. So you be ready to make presentation for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes presentation. Right? You need to be able to scale down and up. 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm not giving you arbitrary, numbers there, because I have experienced that in the Viva where the chairperson says, you have 10 minutes, or 5 minutes. They can do that. And they just skip the whole presentation and go straight to the question and answer. They have done that as well. Okay, so just be prepared for the presentation there. Number 9, principle of mastery projection, mastery of keys. This is where I said, this is principle number 9, knowing where the key pages are. So tag your thesis, right, where the research questions and objectives are, where your key findings are, so you tag, or you know exactly where it is, right? So you don't do flipping or where is it? Oh, I don't know where the question. No. You don't do that. You know, research question. You can go research question. The significance of research. Yeah. You do not want to have too many texts, but the key pages you need to know where they are. I have one student who he's graduated now. He's not just graduated, he became associate professor. Now he's a professor, right? When the examiners asked him what he's the fastest. Second fastest or fastest student who graduated from me. When examiner asked him, he said, please look at page 37. Let me see. Please look at page 91. Oh yeah. So he knows the pages so well. And he said, please look at paragraph number 2. It impresses the examiner. So the examiner, this guy is really good, right? This guy is really good. So he knows his thesis so well. So he really impresses the examiner. So the examiner, this is good. Yeah. This is just a mastery of it's about mastery of communication, mastery. It shows mastery. So I said mastery of projection, the key literature and key figures. So one of the things, if you remember last time, Dr. Hafiza did say, they asked mastery of the literature. What are the key literature? So you need to be able to tell the main persons behind the literature, right? So you have that one too, right? And the key figures you need to know as well, right? So physically bookmark your key pages, and you need to, you show the mastery, show the mastery. So that's number 9. This is about, you're a master of your own thesis. That's number 9. Number 10, principle of self-projection. This is impression management, fragrance, in a Viva session, if you're all sweaty, that's bad. So make sure you have deodorant with you, and not to over deodorize, but make sure that you smell good, right? Smell good. Dressing up, dressing down, you put a jacket just now, that's good. USM position, we do not dress up too much, right? But you just make sure that you have the collar thing, collar, and you have a jacket on. Without jacket is fine too, right? I have one student who dressed up with a tie and all that. I told him you don't need to, because in USM we are kind of more relaxed. But he feels he's more confident when he's dressed up. Right? Obviously, he has the result because of his presentation of the Bible. His grades actually went up. So he was, I think, was getting 3 or something after the Bible became the God. So his performance during self-projection was good. He's also a communication lecturer, by the way. So he's the one who taught. I told you all, the one who taught in Taylor's College, right? He's the one.
Long sleeve and vest still okay.
Long sleeve is fine. Long sleeve, yeah. As long I would want to put in something with collar and all that. Yeah, not not a t-shirt with whatever weird thing on the t-shirt like that. Not like this, like Captain. Okay. I'm okay with this, but during Viva.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So I mean, there was one of my students who I won't say she or he walked from international house all the way from Bhakti. That person arrived here early, right? But the person was sweating, right? Was sweating. So I ended up giving my cologne to her, him, whoever the person is, right? And to make sure, that the examiners do not smell the sweat. So that's an important thing. Just be. But I don't think you have a problem. There's no problem.
Well, I walked from the Gelugong to just now.
So that's the other thing. Some examiners might be picky on this thing, but because I work and the external is from outside, usually they're online right now. Number 11, principle of track avoiding. This has to do with the track question, right? And the track question goes like this. The examiner says, tell me what's missing in your research. Or tell me, if you were to redo your research, what would you do differently? Right? Or so you need to do A, B, C, D, and F, and all that, right? Then the examiner says, then go and do all this back, right? So you trap yourself in doing the things you do not want to do, right? I have one student, a student from China last time, right? My first student. The examiner asked, if you were to go back and restart to do your masters at that time, what would you do? And she said, no, I do not want to do my masters anymore. So the examiner laughed and that's it, right? So be careful with trap question. Avoid trap question, right? If you really need to answer a question that is in the future research. You have one section future research, right? So answer the future research question, right? If I were to do this research, I will carry out this research, a comparative research in United States. Comparative research United States and one in Africa, something like that. That's okay. You do not track yourself. Right? It's comparative research is always, you can always do the comparative research, but you don't do it in your research outside of the country. And number 12, principle of anticipation of points of challenge. So this one has to do with if they challenge you, like going back to the point just now, I said if they ask you to do something you can correct it, you correct. But they ask you to do data collection, that is where there's a line you draw. You must defend it as firmly as possible that your research, you have enough data, that your research is PhD worthy, so this is we draw the line there, you know. So this is the line you draw, and you can anticipate what else. You say after going through this, you say, okay, you just realize after you submitted, like you said just now, right? After you submitted your thesis, you realize there's certain points of that you haven't covered yet, right? So you need to be ready to answer those weak points, right? That you haven't covered in your research with some answers, right? So if you say just now that you haven't covered all museums, then you would want to say, well, you have covered what? 10 museums? 15 museums, right? That's definitely more than enough. I do not think that is an issue, right? But if there's an issue about your sampling, you need to be able to defend your sampling. But 15 museums, there's a lot of museums. That is not your weak point, Chang. That is actually your strong point. Usually for my students, data is not the weak point. There's only 1 or 2 cases where the students need to go back to Iran and all that, and that becomes a problem when there's no more data collection. That's my concern is usually with data. But if you think you realize that there are certain things that you haven't covered, you can discuss with me at that time, right? Then we can think about how do you defend, right? Defend. You can anticipate, right? So those are the 12 principles, right? Your thesis is strong. I'm not worried so much about the content of your thesis, right? Now you want to work on mainly your presentation, right? And be able to convey. My concern is when the examiners do not read or do not read enough. So they do not know the strength of the thesis, right? And they just go attack mode. Now that's where we got to prepare for a very strong Viva. Always prepare for strong Viva, of course. And sometimes the examiners read your thesis, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and they forget. That's the issue sometimes, right? That's another issue. Anyways, this is we should arrange for another one. 1 or 2 weeks time. Okay. When you're ready, 1 or 2 weeks time, you communicate with Hanif. We'll arrange for another presentation for you, right? Remember, it's okay to have all the anxiety. It's okay to have all the worries. It's now to still have the worries and still deliver. That's what you want to do, right? The principle of 3 helps in clarity. Okay. What else? Okay. Best is you come here to make yours. The issue was last time, I think Dr. Eco, when she presented online, the issue was there was a problem with the internet connections right now. So if you're doing online presentation, which I highly ask you to avoid, then you should have at least 2 or 3 devices. Because and it so happened that she was one of her laptop was problematic at that time or something. But if you come over here, then it should be alright.
So I will come over here.
Yeah, do that.
Physical works well.
Yes. That's the best actually. That's the best. And come here 1 night, 2 nights before that. That's actually better that way. Settle in and can have much more focus.
Okay.
So I'm here to guide as well as much as possible. So what happened during the Bible is that usually we will have deliberation first before you come in, right? That's why you wait into the lobby outside or something, right? And we have deliberation first. They ask me, and then that's where I can say something about your research and all that. And then at the Bible, I cannot say anything. And then when you will leave, then that's when they will deliberate again and see what do you think, examiner 1, examiner 2, examiner 3, are you going to stick to the same? At that time, they already have your scale, the grade. Right? When you start, you always have the grade. Right? If you see me smiling, usually it's good. But don't look at me. Your sensing is with the examiners always, right? There was the thing that my student last time he was doing the profiling. He was looking at me too, right? And there were moments that I wasn't smiling and all that, right? So he was thinking there's a problem. So he was doing a lot of psychological profiling. Don't do that, sensing, So that's what Bruce Lee said, right? Yong Chun, you don't think about kick number 2, block number 5, you just fight. You just sense and fight. You don't think anymore, you just sense and fight, right?
Before that, I have profiling actually. What happened to my accident? What happened to one of the examiner when he published book at Rollage? So I was I'm gonna die.
Oh, Rollage. Oh, don't worry about those things. They never worry about those things.
Rollage.
Yeah, the examiner part is if you have a strong thesis, you have a strong defense. Inshallah, God will grace. Grace to God. This one will be, of course, we do not have 100% certainty, right? Just do your best. I think that's, and if they have a strong thesis, I won't worry. That's it. Okay. So revise your presentation, your slides, and communicate with Hanif, and we arrange for another presentation. I'm giving you priority, by the way. So that's the so we have the November 11th. What day is it? November 11th?
Monday.
Monday. I usually choose a Friday or Thursday because the mood for the examiners are better. But Monday is okay. Monday okay because you have a strong thesis. Friday is the best, by the way. I know the Muslim League is Bakat, right? It's a good day for Muslim. But Friday is where we have Friday prayer. So we will have to finish at 12 o'clock, right? The Bible cannot be too long, right? The Bible cannot be too long. The examiners have to finish on time, right? It's actually a good thing. It's a good strategy to, and then also Friday people's mood are better because tomorrow is a holiday, Saturday, right?
Monday blue.
Monday.
Monday blue.
I will avoid, the days I avoid is Tuesday usually.
Oh, okay.
Because Tuesday in terms of work is actually, Monday is better than Tuesday because Monday people are like a bit groggy, They'll just start their holiday, they don't know what is it, what we are doing. Tuesday they are much more focused already. Work, I'm ready for work, I cannot escape the holiday. My next holiday is a Saturday, right? So Tuesday is where people work. People much more serious. Tuesday is much more serious. But these are all little pieces strategy, So I would, as much as possible, avoid Tuesday. For Viva, I usually prefer Thursday or Friday. That would be. That's why we have a restaurant called. Restaurant. Thank God it's Friday, right? Restaurant TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, right? It's a restaurant. There's a restaurant. It's an American restaurant. American restaurant called Thank God It's Friday, TGIF. In Queens Bay we have that. Yeah. It's an American restaurant. It's called TGIF. Thank God It's Friday. Yeah. Because the mood is different, and especially in Malaysia because 12 o'clock they have to stop because of Friday prayer. 12:15 the people say, come on, we have 12:15, we're going to pray. And if I'm the examiner, right, if I supervisor, I cannot do this. The examiner said, I need to finish this at 12 o'clock because I have another commitment later. I will tell that. But usually people get me as an examiner is a good thing, it's not a bad thing. Because I actually I believe in karma. I'm kind with other students so that the examiners are kind to my students too. I believe in that. What is it? What is karma in Chinese? Is it?
因果。
英国
那个音，
原因
原因的
原因的音，OK。
哎，果flute 结果的
英国 ，OK。
看马是否还可以翻译成夜报？
夜报，
对啊，
OK，
我也不知道，因为我不太懂这些不定的东西。
OK， 我们翻译成英国了。
英国 ，OK。
Actually, I never failed a student before. I never failed that student ever. I've argued with other examiners, yes, because the examiner will down and say, "We'll give up, we'll down." I argued with the examiners before. I've given one to students before. Not many examiners give one because they feel that, no, I don't give one. I give one to students. So I might have reputation out there as an easy examiner, but I believe in 英国，不是英国英国英的英。英国 ，OK， oh, that's a new word. Just now, 嘉龙你说的什么软？那个
以柔克刚
啊？
太极
太极不
以柔克刚。
以柔克刚 ，OK， 以柔克刚。Then afterwards you WhatsApp to me the wording so that I know.
那个字啊，
字的
拼
现在写一张还是发到
发给他。本来。
Okay, John, congratulations, you meet, this is when you reach fiber, okay. You know, 克刚 okay. 刚才的刚。
刚强
刚才的刚 Yeah.
Okay.
just like the having thing
Yeah?
having thing
Having things, okay. Alright, good. I'm learning something. You reach this, but this is, reaching the fiber is like the height of it, the height. So you still have, after the fiber, you still need to climb down the mountain. Hopefully it's easy climbing down, but the fiber is the height. And my assessment, if the students are not ready, the thesis is not ready, I will not allow the submission yet. Usually you're more than ready, the thesis is strong, then you can go in. So if you have a strong thesis, that is not my worry. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, Chan, right. What's Michelle Yeoh's Chinese name?
I cannot pronounce it correctly. 杨紫琼。
杨紫琼。
Okay, that's where Chang is, the state where Chang is from.
Yeah, Ipoh.
Yeah, I'm from Ipoh.
Yeah,
I stay there.
Yeah, neighbor with.
Yeah,
Boy, she's a Tan Sri now, right?
I have no idea.
Tan Sri now, I think. It's not Dato, Tan Sri. So it's like really high up there. Yep. Oscar, right? The best actress, right?
I still know Oscar.
The best actress. First time they're giving it to Chinese, right? First time they're giving it to Asian.
Yeah,
All this while they never give the Asian.
Maybe we just limited it to Asian female actors.
Asian female actress, yeah. Well, they haven't given the male actor too.
康复 star 杨紫琼是吧？
对，杨紫琼，不是他也不是仅仅是。
But not Oscar. He did not win Oscar though.
She won an Oscar, right?
She won.
Yeah.
She won the Oscar Best Actress.
Yeah.
So Best Actress.
I know
First Asian.
the movie Crazy Rich Asian.
Crazy Rich Asian, which I think is crazy, but there's another. No. She didn't win because of that. She wins another movie. Everything, everywhere, every time, everywhere.
I just saw that film last night.
Yeah, it's just a crazy movie. I don't know. Every time, everywhere. Right? You never watched the movie?
No, bro.
I think I watched it halfway and said, okay, this is too crazy for me to understand this movie. I don't understand. I mean, I can understand, but
just because there's going to be everything, there's going to be clicks.
Yeah.
You have to put it all clicks.
You can put it on there. But this woman, she appears in different versions of her, like different universe.
Yeah.
right? And she's the worst version of the universe, right? Right.
So means she was
was
going to be
saying
the worst.
She's the worst version.
So that means there's a huge hope.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future.
In all the multiverse, she's the worst version of the multiverse. But she can still succeed. That's the whole argument. She was a mother, but this is this and that, and her daughter was having problem. Her husband is whatever, you know.
So actually, we're just going to talk about the inner relationship between the Asian family, and like the parents and children.
The mother and the daughter, the conflict.
They just going to say these kind of things. We're just going to be the control freak or something.
The mother. Oh, they have the Asian prejudice in the movie too. That's true. Anyways, okay. Okay, guys. Anyone has any inputs or something you want to say? Ask your 大师兄, your big brother here. He has almost, he has completed the journey.
10 years.
10 years, right? Chang started out with a different supervisor, by the way, right?
Yeah. For 3 years,
3 years, huh? Okay.
Thank God, Prof. Wani took me as a supervisor.
Yeah. He started out with supervisor, so well, alhamdulillah, thank God. I'm happy that you reached this stage. It's
师兄，不好意思问一下，你跟你们学校那个医学教育那边会
Okay, alright, we will call it a day. It's almost 1 o'clock now. Alright, everyone, see you all. Chimia, Cameron, Joanne, Hanchen, Kai Lai, Ye Feng, Chen Lan, Kai Lai, you're there. Kai Lai just woke up. Okay, welcome, thank you. Kai Lai, you just woke up from sleep.
Sorry.
Just woke up at Kai Lai. 睡醒，刚刚睡醒。
齐明。
Oh, okay, Chimi, how are you? Yes.
I'm still walking.
Oh, you're walking. Okay. All right. Okay, we will see you again now. It's 1 o'clock now. It's lunchtime for us now here. Okay, everyone.